Well, the improvisation bit, that was me. Because I've just done two works, both of which were kind of like very carefully kind of like planned beforehand. Mm-hmm. So the work's going to be like this, the work's going to be like this. And then it was like quite a short time from the finish of one work at the university in National Taiwan University of the Arts. Yeah. I was then asked to do this piece of work, and I really didn't think I had time to come up with a fully thought out, planned before project, which was kind of like its freedom. So okay, if I go down there and I bring certain sets of materials with me and certain things, and then I just play and see what happens. And that it means, of course, that it is site specific, because what is driving the work is a mix between me playing with the materials and things I've got, and all, you know, using ways of working that I already have, and then the kind of ideas that are coming from the site itself. And a lot of the ideas that came from the site itself were the fact that it was still being built. So there was lots of materials and things happening all the time. So that then drives into it. And then this idea, which also comes from the way the gallery is built, means that it functions like a big camera, because it's got a window at one end, but it's quite a dark space. So that then led to one of the ways that
camera obscura.
Yeah, camera obscura. So then I just playing with the lenses, which were not brought to for that purpose. The original idea was that they were just going to be used as magnifying lenses, maybe on books with lights. But then as soon as I thought, oh, hang on, it's a camera obscura. So in theory, if I place the lens 30 centimeters from the wall, then it will focus, and it did. And it was interesting that when I was doing the talk, that some people were going, how does this work? Oh, wow, what's this?
Okay. Yes.
No, it's just the simplest thing ever. Well, I think what it is that I've noticed this also with sound recording as well. Everybody has moved so far away from the origins of those forms of work that they forget that at the basis of sound recording is a really simple idea. And it's the same with like cameras. And all the digital stuff that goes on top of that is amplifying and playing with the original way that it works. In the UK, I have a small studio space on the second floor in a studio block. And what you want is you want to be able to use materials that don't involve extra equipment. So it must be wonderful fun to be welding, but that's just like, you know, it's too complicated. Whereas if you can use various kinds of building materials, which are wood, timber, plywood, plasterboard, you can build things quite fast, and the only machines you need basically are drills and cutting equipment. So it makes it fast. And then the lenses, I like using those because of that trick. People forget that trick. But there's also a kind of conceptual idea there, which is this idea of how we tend to see the world. So we see the world by focusing on some things but ignoring other things. That's how we work. You know, if our brains actually took account of all the information that's coming in, we'd go mad. Working in those spaces, originally I was technician. So I was involved in the process of making spaces and installing other people's artworks. And what that showed to me very clearly is this idea of like the autonomous artwork, the artwork as being unaffected by everything surrounded it is just not true. And you realise quite fast the things that you're building, which are seen as not art because you're just a technician, are actually fundamentally affecting how people see what is regarded as the art. So that then makes you realise how the whole thing is is a complete work.
Yes.
And that is always tied into my work since that time. And it also came from like a realization with my own original work, which was painting. Where I presented that work actually affected that work, and I was never happy with it. Actually, I wanted to build the space, so I just went into building the space. And now the kind of spaces that I build they reference the kind of drawings I used to do. So it's all developing from those kind of things. No. I have done this. I have done this thing of trying to make small things, but they always just get bigger. I always see artworks as part of the world. So when you make an object, you tend to want to situate it in the world that you're making, as it were. And so you just build more and more things to make that world. So like if you built this room, you'd start off with maybe the table, but then you end up with like floors, walls, ceilings. You just like keep expanding until you've replicated the room. The working process was going down there and playing, and then being affected by the building that was going on round me. But then I always knew that would happen. But one thing I did say, which I think was an important point about the work, is that by using the kind of just ordinary building technique, I wanted to kind of demonstrate that art is not based on specific technologies. So, the building of art is available for anybody. You can do it. You don't have to, spend 27 years learning how to polish metal or anything, or carve marble for that matter, because it's to do with how you think about things. So it's a conceptual practice.